hope everybody's enjoying the show. I got requested to put the glasses on, so I do feel more. I feel more comfortable with the glasses. It's my alt here. So I hope everybody's enjoying the HandyCon so far. I think maybe halfway, not even. I mean, there's so many sessions. Um, this one's going to be a great one about adoption. Greg, unfortunately, just had some family issues, couldn't make it, but Paul stepped in. And it was really great to have Paul here again. And we're talking about adoption, not just browser adoption, but just adoption in general. So I'm gonna hide off the stage. Also, check out the leaderboard. Just a little shout out for leaderboard. You can see for Fulci's winning right now, or the leader with 1,390 points. You click that little leaderboard on the top. Layla's second. Niels is third. So there will be prizes. I'll leave it to Anne to share about the prizes, but engagement and participation is being rewarded. So I'll leave it at that and take it away. Is Paul moderating or who's?
I'll be moderating.
Oh, yeah. Robert. Okay.
No worries.
Thank you.
Sweet. So thank you guys for coming. I'm glad to be here again. If you don't know me, I was the founder of Shake Stats. I've been away from the protocol for a little bit, but I'm still pretty active in the background, helping other people with some projects. I'm really excited for another HandyCon, and I'm glad to be with Paul, Taylor, and Maurice here. I just want to start off. Everybody, let's introduce ourselves. So Taylor, do you want to go first?
Yeah. Hey, everyone. My name's Taylor. I work with a couple friends at Tetris Shapes. We're a design and development studio. We also work closely with Kyocon, ideating how we're going to grow Handshake with Bob Extension and our own wallet project we're working on now, Name Layer.
Cool. Maurice? You're muted, Maurice.
Sorry about that. Hi, I'm Maurice. I'm one of the developers at Another Software. I work at a couple of projects there with the Resolver. We try to set up the IBC handshake, but that's still on the cold shelf for now. We're gonna resurrect that in the future, but and besides that, I did a couple of side projects for myself right now. One of them is SAPI.domains. I think that's live right now, the first version. It only misses the register pages for now. Yeah, that's it, I think.
Perfect. Paul,
Thank you.
we've seen you a lot, but still introduce yourself.
So now I get to try a better intro. My name is Paul. I'm working on a registry and registrar, Nunet and Beachfront. Slowly but surely, I had hoped to be launched in time for this HandyCon, but I think I'll be better equipped for the next one. Currently filling in for Greg. So if you have any Akash questions, unfortunately, you're not getting them from me.
Perfect. So guys, I seen we've talked about kind of adoption in like some previous sessions, but I really want to focus on like the philosophical kind of side of Handshake to really delve into how all of us have come to be where we are now. So again, I'm gonna open the floor up to everyone to say like, how did you guys get into Handshake? What were your thoughts about it? What were your initial reactions? And then have your thoughts changed from initial to now? So first, Taylor, do you want to start off?
Yeah. So my wife is a Etsy seller, and she does really well there. And sellers that do really well on Etsy, they really take notice to when they do tweaks to the algorithms. And I just saw them just doing SEO wasn't the main driving factor to get sales anymore, and I just didn't like that. So I thought of creating an own marketplace for users, and just SEO would be the only thing dictating your ranking. And then I found the Silk Road. I saw what Ross did and thought, okay, I don't want to make that but what kind of thing can we use if there wasn't a marketplace? How can we connect just those users that were on the marketplace together? And then eventually found Chango, who introduced me to Handshake, and I see this as that solution.
That's dope. Maurice, how did you get into Handshake? What were your thoughts?
I kind of felt like I missed the boat with Bitcoin, and then I was looking around with all the cryptos and the millions of cryptos that were out there, like 2018, 2019, 2020. I found Bitcoin Handshake, and then I thought, this is like genius. This is a whole new perspective with the naming solution and the security of Bitcoin combined. And yeah, this is really early. All the names are just being released, and yeah, like I had another chance, like missing with Bitcoin. I felt like I was on time with Handshake, and yeah, this is really nice. But yeah, I
I
love it.
think, yeah, I think that's like such a common story I've heard amongst handshakers. I don't know if you guys have heard the same thing, but everyone's like, oh, well, I was an early Bitcoiner, or like I missed the boat on Bitcoin, and I saw Handshake as like the next best thing. Everyone has been saying like the community is very similar. If you have a look, even though we have our differences, and Bitcoin people are pretty maximalist a lot of the time. Um, Decentralization and that focus on freedom for people on the internet is like a huge vector for the community, like getting hyped around the protocol. So later on, I would like to touch on like the similarities between Handshake and Bitcoin, what the communities actually think, what they've been saying lately, and maybe how we might follow the trajectory that Bitcoin has followed. That would be really interesting. So we'll get into that later. Paul, would you like to say how you got into Handshake?
Just like you and Maurice, I saw Bitcoin and I was just like, and then I realized like, oh wow, that was dumb. And so then I found Handshake and I was just like, wait, whoa. So to go back a little bit, in ninth grade in high school, I was in my school library and I was just like, how do I create my own .com? I didn't even know what a TOD was. I went to Ask Jeeves. I looked it up. I got redirected to ICANN site and I was just like, oh, okay, so this is what I have to do. And then I just shelved that for X amount of years because I really wanted a dot space like that. That was, and this was before dot space existed. We have dot space now. And so someone beat me to the punch. But as time went on and all these startups I worked for did not scale, they all shut down. So I wasn't getting the millions I needed to buy a TOD, the classic ICANN way. So when I found Handshake, I was like, oh, I can still achieve that dream, but without millions. I could just do it with like $30 or one. And so, yeah, I really wish I could remember like how exactly I found it, but I was online or on GitHub or something, just looking around and then somehow found the Discord and saw the testnet. And I was in that and doing stuff and I didn't know what a testnet was. So I accumulated all these names. And I was like, yes, I'm about to kill it. And then they were like, oh, mainnet's happening next week. And I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, like I was super like noob into blockchain in general. So that's how I got into Handshake.
That's so interesting. I remember when I found Handshake pretty early on, the auctions were going crazy. I don't know if you guys remember. It was so hard to get a name because there was so few, because they were releasing gradually. How was that for you, Paul? Did you like have a lot of big bidding wars, or did you get some names pretty easily?
I missed out on so many great names because I didn't know what a blind bid was. And so I put like two HNS, my actual bid, and then my blind bid, I put like 200. And I was like, man, I got the highest bid. I'm going to get this name. And then someone bid 5. I was like, that moron. I have 280 on this. And they won the name. And again, I was like, what the what the hell, this sucks. And so like I was mad in the Discord, in the name base Discord. It's like nobody told me it. It's like, no, it's right there, like you just look, like this is how it works. And so from that I was like, okay, now I'm not going to mess with blinds. I'm just going to bid as much as I have, which is how I got the alien emoji. I was just like, oh, wow. But back then, nobody cared about emoji because it was like puny code and it was like XN dash dash. Like, no one's going to type that in. That's just dumb. But now, emoji are like the hot thing. So I was extremely lucky to have one of the few emoji that is just like highly coveted, doesn't have extra modifiers or extra skin tones. Like, it's the alien emoji. That's it. But yeah, once I started attaining more and more information and names, I was like, okay, maybe I should start thinking about creating a business with these instead of just sitting on all these names.
Yeah. That thing with like
Robert,
emojis.
funny story. I minted the alien, like just you mint a name for like one HNS, and then okay, I'll come back to it. And just got busy that week with life. Came back
Oh
to it when it was in
man.
reveal. Just wanted to shoot my foot, but I'm glad it went to you.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, I'm going to reserve Taylor.alien for you.
That's actually hilarious. Yeah, I remember like emojis weren't that popular, Paul. You're right. Like, what I noticed is everyone was trying to get on the wave of like, okay, I'm gonna sell SLDs. So people were getting like .hub. I remember I lost that one. I was like so pissed off. Like the singular letters and like all that stuff, they were going really hard. And initially, I'm like, oh, that's dumb. The reason I like Handshake is the fact that you can have a website just as the TLD. Like, what's the point for subdomains, etc.? I didn't get it at the time, but that was my mindset. So I wasn't even going for those names, but I should have. So yeah, it's funny that yeah, emojis came way later. So dang, we missed out. I missed out on that boat. Paul did it, but yeah, interesting. So I want to get more into like the philosophical side of Handshake, as I mentioned earlier. I don't know about you guys, but for me, the fact that Handshake is decentralized and the founders are like true cypherpunks, like JJ is like really cool, like Andrew Lee, all that stuff. They try not to, put their faces out there too much and control what's going on. They really put it into our hands, which I find really dope. You don't find many other projects these days. There's probably no other project apart from Bitcoin that really does this. So that's what really, really excites me about Handshake. I think that, you know, going for this like cultural sort of aspect, this social political aspect is really, really important. We need to like make a movement because in Bitcoin, that's what I've seen. That's the main value of Bitcoin. Obviously, there's other values, but it's kind of like a social movement, right? So what are you guys' thoughts on that? Do you guys agree?
I agree to an extent, but I'm not one that's super bullish on Handshake adoption coming from the Web2 route. I do see identity, like it being the naming layer across various applications, being what drives use case. So that's where I come from. That's my.
Mm-hmm. Maurice?
Uh, yeah, I think the problem with the domain names is the mobile resolver. I I don't use the Beacon browser myself because I don't have any Mac products. so I don't have a good resolver on my phone. So the only use case is actually the identity for now, like Taylor said.
Paul, you agree with that?
Yep. Pretty much all of my products are Apple products, though, so I have zero problem, especially with Eskimo's mobile app, HNS. Yep, it's awesome. But yeah, yeah, I pretty much agree with the guys. I don't have much to add.
Yeah. Identity is a massive thing, and I think what Superlink has done is probably the perfect thing for Handshake, honestly. Obviously, like another thing was using emojis as identity. That was dope. Obviously, Yat was working on it, and I think Handshake's like a better way. But Superlink is the thing that excites me the most because they have like I don't know how many TLDs. They've got like apparently they can serve for like billions of people. So the fact that they have all that to work with, and they have like all this plan and everything is dope. We kind of need centralized actors on top of the decentralized system. Otherwise, things aren't really going to move forward. Um, the whole point of Handshake in that sense is the fact that you can get a clean name. It's that simple, right? So me, Robert Rakic, for example, like it's so clean. Like there's nothing else. Like on ENS, for example, you have to go .eth. It doesn't look good, right? So for that simple fact, I think a lot of people will adopt Handshake, right? So what do you guys think of Superlink? Have you checked it out? Have you bought a name? Have you joined the Discord yet?
I want to bring something up. Who was the other co-founder of Namebase? Not Tieshun. He was at the first HandyCon. He mentioned that people need to be building on every level for like front end consumers in the Web2 world, all the way to shake decks, right, for degens. I think Superlink is super important because like first name dot last name is, like you said, just the cleanest, simplest way. 80% of Web2 people that come into this space, that's what they'll be looking for, I think. So super awesome that they did that.
Yeah, definitely super awesome. Any thoughts, Maurice?
Yeah, for me was Namebase was the point of entry that made everything reasonable. I was totally new to crypto and everything, so everything on a centralized actor made everything understandable for me and onboarded me. So I think in this way it can onboard a lot of people onto Handshake and make it much more popular with the clean naming system. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, like the more and more centralized projects we can get, the better. But we have to make sure that it doesn't compromise the decentralized nature of Handshake. So there's kind of a balance there. But I feel like the more incentives there are for people to create projects, the better. So what we've seen so far is basically just selling SLDs. That's the main thing. Um, but maybe there might be more creative ways to sell SLDs. Maybe copying what NFTs do, creating like a gateway. Okay, you can't enter this Discord server without this Handshake name, etc. I feel like going for influencers will be a massive thing. For example, but this needs money, right? So like, let's say there's like a big Discord, big influencer who has a Discord group. Tell them, all right, we'll pay you this amount of money, but you can only tell your users they can join only if they have a Handshake name, specifically Handshake. So just creating this like these rules such as these where they need a name will be very vital because like if it was up to them, they probably wouldn't choose Handshake. It's kind of hard to implement right now, etc. But the more people get on board, everything else will spread more. Yeah, that's really dope. I want to go into kind of what's been going on with the new projects that have been made apart from Superlink. Have you guys heard of Dot Records? What do you guys think of Dot Records?
They did a great job. I love it. I think it's super sick, and all the utility they added for users is great.
Yeah, definitely. Maurice?
Yeah, it's a great name to begin with, and everything they build on top, it's marvelous. I tried to launch Seppi this week. I built a website and I launched it, but I have not get a mint so far, and they minted like hundreds of names in a matter of weeks. I think it's crazy.
Yeah, that's dope. Paul, have you used Dot Records? Have you been into the virtual space that Zach created?
I have been into the virtual space, and it reminded me of various ideas I have, and I was just like, man, and this is just a proof of concept. This is very nice. I haven't been involved in the music NFT space that much, but I do follow people who are very much into it, and um, I I love what can come from just dot records and other things like it, because I'm a fan of owning my my music. Like I use Bandcamp so much, so I can get the FLAC versions, and then I can put them on my phone and use Doppler to play the music instead of streaming, because on streaming music can be taken down, music can be changed, your favorite song might like lose things because of other sampling issues after the fact, and so you know the record label wants to remove all original copies and whatnot. And I feel like dot records is for people like me who want to support the artist directly and also like own a piece of the content rather than just being like a mindless consumer, if that makes sense. Like you're being intentional when you're supporting artists and whatnot. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. I think that's so important, like contributing to the artist directly, etc. I also think that the scarcity element is really cool. Like music nowadays is not that special in the sense that like you can stream anything, right? For a very low price. And this scarcity element kind of reminds me of like what it was to go into a record store, right? That's really dope. And if we can create these experiences via Handshake, I think that'll be very, very valuable. It goes back to the kind of nice looking, clean looking names that we have. This could be like very good. We could have very good directories, right, to certain things. For example, let's say, when you want to find hip hop music, etc. You go on Spotify, you find a playlist, you find a few playlists, keep going from there. It takes quite a while. But what if we can make some like kind of easy way to do this rather than Googling and using all this search stuff? What if you can just go directly, let's say hiphop.records, and then from there you have like all these other categories that you can click on and go from there. There's a lot of ways to index these things using our names, and that I think are really dope. Um, any other projects have you guys thinking about? I've heard of Dot Stars. I thought that was pretty cool. So like, the ability to use handshake names on Cosmos. Maurice, I know you've been around that. Do you want to talk more about it?
I have not done so much with this project myself, to be honest. I don't know any technical things. I know you have to check the GitHub of Nick. He has a lot of he has the name server, I think, for Arweave, an Arweave name server where you can manage your stars names and a couple of things. But yeah, I'm not really familiar with that, so I can't tell you a lot
Taylor,
about it.
Taylor, I know you've been in the Cosmos community quite a lot. Have you heard thoughts about it? Do they know about Handshake? What do they think about interchain naming?
They definitely know about Handshake. Just I got to meet a bunch of people at Denver from Cosmos, and I tried my hardest to red pill them. I might have succeeded. I guess we'll see in the coming months what happens.
That's dope. Yeah, I know there's a lot of people in Handshake that love Cosmos, and I think they're starting to recognize that. It'd be so dope if we can figure something out and keep going down that route. I heard that the .stars domain had one of the most subdomains on it, so one of the most popular TLDs. I don't know if I'm wrong there, but that's pretty cool. So it seems like interchain naming could be a thing. I don't know the tech side behind it, but sounds dope. Just as much, we need more and more collaborations between other projects. The problem is we're our own chain, and we're kind of isolated on our own little island. And it's nice to bring other people in, so we can expand and grow together. Yeah, that'll be dope. Um, yeah, so we've talked about the tech, we've talked about the philosophical side. Now I want to talk about naming. We touched on it a bit more before, but we have a lot of traders in here on our panel. I want to hear from you guys. What's it been like on the ground? Have you been getting any good names lately? Has it been more difficult, primary or secondary? What do you prefer? Expiring names? Let's go on and talk about it.
To me, so I'm not a domainer, per se, but I understand like short short words are going to be great. Short two letters, obviously single letters are going to be great. To me, regardless of the size, a niche that I focused on was emojis. So that's where we went pretty hard and have a vast catalog of a lot of them. So I just see they represent, art, they represent different things in different cultures, and it's universal. So I see those being really popular moving forward, regardless of what a lot of people think. They're just silly. Um, I don't. I think they're the most fun aspect in Handshake. And once adoption comes, that's going to be one thing a lot of people I think are going to be excited about. And you could see that on the secondary now with names that have expired or lost keys, I'm assuming, when they come back up for auction. Uh, as Paul knows, I think the alien you got for one HNS coin, if I'm not mistaken. But
Yep,
those
one HNS.
yeah. So same with secondary sales. You used to be able to get them for a few hundred, maybe 1,000, the low thousands definitely. Now on chain, like the last few emojis that have expired, the pineapple recently went for $5,000 worth of handshake. Before that, the sun went for a couple thousand. Before that, the whiskey bottle and the magic top hat went for just over 5K. So these are numbers more in line with the value that a lot of people have been waiting to see that have been in it early. Because back in the day, we would get them for, like I said, just super cheap, almost to the point like I remember going all in on names, knowing if this is all I won, it's fine because this emoji is like super valuable and I see it. But back then, no one bid against you, so you get a massive refund and do the same thing every week.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so have you guys been more in the secondary market? Let's forget about expiring. Like apart from expiring, has primary market just dried up? Is there anything else you can get?
There are a handful of good emojis out there if someone looks for them. And I'm sure Namebase will implement some sort of search filter to just search for, single IDNA emoji characters. But right now you have to just type each one in, or the best way I suggest is put in your max amount and then just go down the list. And you could find some gems, but yeah, there's only a handful left.
I think that's an interesting thing you kind of touched on, the fact that there's all these filters on Namebase and stuff to make naming easier. I think that's a really, really massive thing that could drive up prices and bring more liquidity to Handshake is the fact that we focus on the actual market making aspect. So what we've seen, Niami like try to make like portfolios and stuff so people could find names easier because that's a big problem. Know the prices, etc. What I did with Shake Stats was trying to categorize everything so people could find names a lot easier. For example, you wanted to find double emojis. You could easily find that via the categories, or you want to find Chinese names. You want to know the rankings of them, etc. So all this market information, all this, search tools, and then the ability to trade very quickly, just creates more liquidity and will create the prices to go up and bring more people into the ecosystem. So, what do you guys think needs to be improved on the marketplaces in order to facilitate this liquidity?
So one thing we want to help with, I've talked to Jackie a lot about redoing the Shake Dex's UI to make it easier for people to use. And I think an improved Shake Dex combined with some tweaks to the extension and add in some features like connecting with HNS chat, we could replicate a lot
Ledger
of
support.
Ledger support is added actually to the extension. Jackie's supposed to be pushing that live to the Chrome store soon. It is if you go to the
well
Bob
then.
GitHub though, we did our developer Casey did implement Ledger support in the extension.
Yeah, that's really dope. You guys working on Shake Dex, I think, is paramount. Like, I don't think people realize how difficult it was to create Shake Dex. It's like some gigabrain like type thing to try to do something with smart contracts on Handshake. It's like very difficult. So Kurumi is like a crazy dev. His Anon, I don't know what else he's worked on. But yeah, if we keep doing what's on Shake Dex and keep moving forward with the decentralized swaps and stuff, that would be crazy. Taylor, do you want to talk about some other projects you've been working on? Maybe like the name layer or something?
Yeah. So we're far along on it. We need to do a little bit more work with how the database works on a native device. Once we get that sorted, we hope to launch soon-ish. And then from there, yeah, really focus on improving ShakeDex and how our app and Bob extension integrates with it.
Dope. Yeah, we need more markets. We need more ways to trade names. Um, Imagine if we could trade names like on Ethereum and stuff like that. Like on Uniswap, how you can swap NFTs, etc. That'd be sick. Like that just brings liquidity. If we were on like Ethereum natively, we would see the prices skyrocket like easily. Like we've seen what's happened with ENS. It was insane. Hopefully we can replicate that. Hopefully. Um, Alrighty. So let's talk about the other projects. This might be a bit controversial or something, but off the bat, what are your thoughts on UD and ENS? First thoughts.
Are we allowed to swear?
I don't know.
I'm, I'm kidding. Yeah, I think everyone knows my opinions on UD. I've been very vocal on Twitter using the stoppable domains hashtag. So I will go on to ENS. Pretty good. I mean, they are the model for how to do decentralized naming. And they have a DAO, they have a treasury, like they have people super invested in the growth of the project and whatnot. And that has helped Ethereum as a whole. I fully believe that without ENS, Ethereum would not be as big as it is.
Wow, that's a big statement. Do you want to expand on that? Why do you think that?
Because people love names. Like everything we do is name haha based. Um, it's just like from the dawn of time, just naming cities, countries, towns, domainers. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Any thoughts on that, Maurice? You look like you
Yeah,
agree.
yeah, language itself is just a string of names. Actually, I was thinking when he was talking like this, it's yeah, every word is just an empty construct that we connect to a value that makes the word what it is. Yeah, since the dawn of time, this is what separates us from the animals.
Hmm. That's actually very true. Very, very true. Taylor, thoughts?
Yeah, so I agree with you guys, but recently Eskimo did a poll on should he integrate unstoppable domains to his HNS.chat app. I fully support integration. When I got into Handshake early, I ended up meeting Jackie from KyoCon, very passionate about decentralized social, and something we talked about early was like we need to integrate like everything possible. Um, and it's finding a way to show the users like what they're relying on for security. Um, Unstoppable, for instance, uses a .resolver .unstoppable .domains.io. So maybe that's what we have to add on to the extension of the username, so everyone would kind of get where they're being resolved at. I don't know, but I'm all for like integrating with these other projects and showcasing why Handshake is better in every possible way.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it would be. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, it would be a good opportunity to showcase why Handshake is a lot better. People just don't really even know about Handshake. So, yeah, just getting in the public convos though. There was that drama with UD. You saw that people started waking up to the fact that Handshake is decentralized, right? So they saw what happened. It's just a replica of Web 2, right? Um, it's kind of akin to like the Bitcoiners like saying, "Oh, I told you so," etc., etc. I think we're a bit more correct on the Handshake side. I heard that UD made like some committee that was like a replica of ICANN. Do you guys know much about that?
Oh yes, their Web3 Alliance. And I joined like 5 different discords. And I was like, do y'all know what y'all are getting yourselves into? And in the Tezos domains Discord, their members were just like, you what? Like they were extremely annoyed. They were just like, nah, we can't be, nah, get out of there. We're not interfacing with them. We're gonna leave if y'all go through with this. And their leadership was just like, oh, our bad. We did not know all this, and so they backed away from it. But other ones like Hedera, they were like, yeah, we don't see the problem. They're not affecting us. This seems like a cool alliance. And I was just like, okay, uh, let's see if it works out for you. So it depends on the community. Some people were just like, yeah, this is terrible. And other people were just like, nah, I'm just here to stack coins. So depends on
Yeah.
the person.
Yeah, I feel that. We had a few questions here. If we can quickly go over them, I think we're almost done. Um, all right, so we have Colin here, fellow enjoyer of emoji and IDN TLDs here. Curious on the panelists' take. What risks to adoption and value are there associated with glyphs, alt, Punycode, and the like? What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Um, so I think this has to be solved in like the client side. They need to understand like Unicode. Everyone who was here early knows about the problems Namebase had for a little with rendering like the wrong puny codes when you type the right one in. So like there were bids on essentially like junk because all puny codes could just be rendered again like today by adding on invisible characters that devices will never render. And there's still legit IDNA characters, but for all intents and purposes, it's just a junk domain. Um, I don't see much value in them until very, very later when people care about a megabyte of space TLDs get on chain. But that's many, many years away. So I don't see value in alts really at all.
Dang, that kind of ruined my dreams. I had a few alts that were pretty good. I got scammed at the time, but yeah. Anyone else want to chime
Yeah,
in?
I sold off all my alts for like free. I was just like, get these out of my portfolio. I was like, nah, this stuff is whack. Um, yeah, so I have a very low opinion on these alt emojis. Also, something to keep in mind, this wasn't mentioned, but it's kind of similar. Homoglyphs. So, like characters that look like Latin characters but aren't really. So, I feel like those are a way to, like, they only exist to scam people. And I don't like that. So, yeah, I'm very much against that. So, in what I'm building, like everything is rendered to ASCII first. So like you see the puny code. So you could try to have like, oh, I'm a register Facebook dot whatever, but the F being like some weird character like that will show up. So I don't want to be on the hook for a customer getting scammed. So
Yeah.
like I feel like that's a very like protective defensive thing that everyone should keep in mind.
Yeah, I agree. Everybody watch out. I think we're gonna wrap it up here. It's been 42 minutes. I want to thank all of you for coming on. I want to thank everyone for showing up and watching. I'm very grateful. I hope you learned something, and let's keep moving forward in Handshake. Have a good one, guys.